finally, Nick Saban's gone. He's gone. We're going to get their ass now. They don't got Nick. And you can't beat Kalen DeBoer. Welcome to Crain & Company on this Wednesday and fall camp, boys. Even before we get into it, it started all around the country. Somebody get excited about fall camp.
I'm excited that I'm not in a hotel for a month.
God, I'm so glad I don't have to put on the pads and do that ever again. But thank you guys for joining us on Crain & Company today. Make sure you subscribe. Got a hell of a show for you as we're moving toward, as we said, a month away from week 1 as of today. And we thought, as I'm joined by former Michigan quarterback David Cohn to my left, former Western State Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crain to my right.
Blaine Cron.
Blaine Cron.
Yes.
Cron
this is one of Blaine Cron's ideas.
Blaine Cron. Yes, this is, and look.
The very few I have.
Yeah, no, like 1 out of every 9 of your ideas is a banger, which is a pretty good rate. I mean, that's better than like Thomas Edison.
We can work with that.
Yeah, we can work with that. We decided to list the top 12, with an honorable mention, the top 12 biggest revenge games of 2025. Now, David, as we discussed and Blaine earlier, these are not the most consequential games to get into.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. It's not ranked in that order. This is the one. It's an ego thing. These are the ones that hurt the most last year.
This is fueled by hate.
This is absolutely fueled by hate. And in the comments, we want to know your ranking of them. If we missed one of them, which one did we miss? We're going to go 12-1, 1 being the biggest revenge game from a you absolutely ripped my guts out last year, and I'm coming for it all this year.
It's a real rascal flats.
It's what hurts the most, 100%.
And there's some embarrassment mixed in.
Oh, a bunch of it. Embarrassment's the best fuel.
Really, this list started as a top 10, and we couldn't even get it to 10, so that's why it's a top 12, which to me bodes well for the upcoming college.
100%.
That there's that many revenge.
So what we're going to do is we're going to say the game, then we're going to explain why it is ranked where it is, why it's such a big revenge game. David Cohn, starting at 12. Let's give us the first one.
Alabama hosting Oklahoma, week 12. Remember, last year was 24-3.
An awful showing for Jalen Milroe and that offense on the road. Kudos to Oklahoma. But to me, it's not, the revenge factor isn't, oh, well, it was Oklahoma's first year in the SEC, and they came in and beat one of the big dogs in Alabama. It's that this loss, especially when it was during the season, was what ended up keeping Alabama out of the playoff. Because remember, Alabama ended up 9-3. You go and beat an Oklahoma team that wasn't very good last year. And Oklahoma fans will tell you that. We've talked to a bunch of them. We talked to Eddie Radosevich as well with our Oklahoma preview. This is the one really that kept Bama out of the college football playoff, because a 10-2 Bama, you bet your bottom dollar, little orphan Annie, they're getting in, and Blaine, Bama gets them at home this year. But Oklahoma, in my opinion, is going to be a whole hell of a lot better.
It's not like Oklahoma just won. I mean, they beat Alabama's ass for sure. We're not used to seeing that. And Oklahoma, look, Oklahoma and Texas are still the new kids on the block.
They are.
They are. And being the new kids on the block, you just walked in to one of the biggest programs, the biggest, baddest programs, and treated them like a little kid, right? And if you're Alabama, Alabama's not used to that.
No.
Right? They're not used to losing 24-3.
And the way,
like downhill running. So it's a real ego check for Alabama. And that game ended. You think Oklahoma was bad last year. This year, it's a whole different Oklahoma team. So it's going to be 10
Which
times.
Would make it, to be honest with you, would make it sweeter if you're an Alabama fan if Oklahoma's in the hunt late in the year and you beat them to keep them out of the college football playoff. So that's why I think it's a good one to start. It's a good one to start.
I agree, because it was Oklahoma's first year in the conference.
Yeah.
First year in the conference, Alabama's, hey, we've got a chance to make the college football playoff. And then you don't even score a touchdown on the road. Now you get them back at home this year. I'm really excited for that game. Number 11, BYU versus Utah. Now, this is going to be week 8, and this is our only showing so far from the Big 12 in our revenge matchups. But just remember, a year ago, Utah was slated to win the Big 12, had dealt with some more injuries with Cam Rising, like we've seen the last couple years. 22-21, BYU wins this game to stay undefeated in a year where the conference was completely inverted. And then all the stuff so far this offseason with Jake Retzloff, the rumors, did Utah have anything to do with that, which seems a little far-fetched but not impossible. Your thoughts, BYU hosting Utah this year.
To me, this is the most underrated rivalry game in college football. I mean, they call it the Holy War for a reason. These two groups of people do not like each other at all, which I think is great for college football. You know, from the Utah standpoint, with the way it's gone the past couple of years, you mentioned Cam Rising and the injuries that kind of derailed what they did. You look at Dampier coming in at quarterback for Utah, who I think can be a big difference maker. They're going to be good on the line of scrimmage. I expect that defense to be a typical, prototypical Utah-style defense. And I know BYU didn't end up making the college football playoff, but you feel like with what happened with Jake, as you brought up, there's more momentum, and it seems like everybody is starting to jump on this Utah bandwagon a little bit. But make no mistake, regardless if Utah makes the college football playoff or not, they want to get back at BYU for that close loss that could have been kind of a feather in the cap for last year. But regardless, you're going to see some of the biggest rivalry games on here because there is nothing that sparks a revenge urge more than losing to a hated rival. And when I say hated, I mean hated when it comes to this.
And say whatever you want about the Big 12. Someone from the conference has to make the college playoff. Someone's got to win it and make the
And BYU's usually the underdog when it comes to these games, BYU versus Utah. If you're Kyle Winningham, and you lose to BYU again, Utah is usually seen as the big brother.
Yeah.
In this rivalry.
Now, BYU fans will say no, but I get that. I get
Kyle
that.
might crack a smile, but it might not be a good smile because you're watching BYU take over your state.
Yeah, it's gonna be a holy war. We'll see it. Nobody likes bugs in their house, and if you do, something's wrong with you, in my opinion. But let me tell you about Pestie. Pestie offers professional-grade, do-it-yourself pest control at a fraction of the cost of traditional services. Now, they're easy-to-use kits, take just minutes to apply, and provide the same effective products used by professionals. Now, while other pest control companies charge over $800 annually, Pestie's customized plan start at just $35 per treatment. It's tailored specifically to your location, your pest issues, and local climate conditions. Now, each Pestie kit comes complete with a reusable electronic sprayer, mixing bag, pesticide, gloves, and simple instructions that take less than 10 minutes to follow. The system effectively eliminates over 100 types of bugs, including spiders, ants, roaches, and stink bugs. Now, we use it at our home. I can tell you this product is fantastic and it works, and it's so easy to set up. They're also kid and pet friendly. They use fully registered pesticides that are trusted in hospitals and schools nationwide. The company backs their service with a 100% bug-free guarantee, offering a full refund if you're not completely satisfied with the results, but you will be. Now's the time to protect your home from bugs with Pestie. Go to pestie.com/Crain for an extra 10% off your order. That's PESTIE.com/Crain, that's CRAIN, for an extra 10% off. It's summer and they're everywhere, so get them out with Pestie.
Now we're cracking our top 10. This is Miami hosting Florida, week 4. Remember, a year ago, this was week 1. Cam Ward and the boys went into Gainesville, 41-17, stopped them. Cam Ward had 418 total yards.
This you talk about personal. Like, I understand Florida and Florida State is a huge rivalry. But Florida and Miami, you talk about hate. You know, Florida views themselves as the state's.
I would say right now, Florida-Miami is a bigger rivalry than Florida State.
Well, after you go 2-10.
Yeah, and again, we'll see. It's all cyclical. But Florida views themselves as the state school, right? That they're the big dog and everybody else is under them. And Miami and Mario Cristobal, to your point, David, went into Gainesville. It was week 1, wasn't it?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah,
this year, week 4.
This year, week 4, last year, week 1. They went into Gainesville and absolutely slapped Florida around. Cam Ward danced all over Florida in one of the toughest places in the country to play. So now Florida, and this is, I tell you, some people will be like, oh, I wish this game was at home. There's something different about going on the road and beating your rival. It makes it even that much sweeter. It's fun to have 100,000 people cheering for you. Now, people will make jokes about Miami and not a lot of people going to the games or whatever, but there is nothing like shutting up a huge crowd of fans on the road that are your rivals. So Florida, they've got high hopes. They've got as much confidence as I've seen them. Now, DJ Lagway's still beat up. We'll see how that goes.
And Carson Beck might be too.
And Carson Beck might be too.
Both quarterbacks are coming
But these are two teams that I think could be playoff relevant, right? I think both of them could be. So when you look at this game, it is unbelievably personal, and Florida feels like they owe Miami something for going on national TV early in the year when everybody's hyped up and absolutely snatching the cookies out of Florida's cookie jar last year. And Miami started 9-0, guys. Started 9, and this was a big catalyst for that. So what would be better if you're a Florida fan than a week 4 going down to Miami and beating their ass to death? That's what if I'm a Florida fan, sign me up for that, buddy.
Could happen. Number 9, LSU hosting South Carolina. This is going to be week 7, but just recap the game a little bit last year with LSU beating South Carolina in Columbia 36-33.
Obviously South Carolina ended up losing 3 games, but I feel like this is the one, and I think South Carolina fans will tell you, that got away, that could have got them to 10-2 and into the college football playoff last year. Remember, South Carolina had a lead. It was going pretty good. And then you had that pick 6, and they didn't call the block in the back behind it. And that was sparked huge outrage for a couple weeks. And again, one call in a game, you're not going to convince me that totally changed. There's so many plays. It's a game of inches, a lot of inches piled up. But if you ask South Carolina fans, and I want South Carolina fans in the comments to tell me as well, does this not feel like the one that got away, kept LSU in the hunt, obviously, and then Lenore explained, I think, got beat up in this game. Didn't he go out and he came back in?
Yeah, he had an ankle injury, I believe, in the first half and came back a little bit later in the second half. And a lot of South Carolina fans said if Lenore doesn't get hurt, they win that football game.
And again, a lot of it is goes back to that block in the back. So I know South Carolina fans, and it's so funny, a lot of these games, the road team won. So now you got to go on the road and play them. But going down to Death Valley, the real Death Valley, in my opinion, and Lenore Sellers and them showing out, maybe ruining the high hopes that LSU has with Garrett Nussmeier and some of the returners that they have. This one feels like for South Carolina, one of the ones you want the most, especially after beating Clemson.
Yeah, quickly,
right?
Lenore's ankle injury late in the first half. He came back in the third quarter only for 1 series.
Yeah.
And then went back to the sidelines. You know who played for the rest of that game?
Yes, I do.
Come on, Dave. He was at Auburn.
Robbie Ashford.
Ashford, yes.
Robbie.
So y'all were cooked.
I know everything. I just can't remember it all at once.
That's true. That's a good way to put it.
Shout out to my Uncle Jerry. All right, number 8. Pumped for this one, man. Notre Dame hosting Texas A&M week 3. This is the second half of that home and home, which I believe was week 1 a year ago.
Yeah.
When Notre Dame went into College Station. The final score of that one was 23-13. Remember, that was Connor Wegman versus Riley Leonard. We were so excited about that quarterback matchup. Notre Dame wins that game, ends up making the national championship.
And it was a great win for Notre Dame, and I'm sure some people are like, how was this game ranked, as high, like in a good way? Because Notre Dame and A&M aren't rivals. But to your point, Coney, when we were talking about this, we don't know when these teams will ever play again. So you don't get a lot of shots. It's not like an interconference matchup or a rivalry game where you're going to play each other at the end of the year because it's always going to be on the schedule because it means that much. But to me, I think the biggest reason it's a revenge game for A&M is because this, once again, fed into the narrative in Mike Elko's first year, right? Mike Elko comes in, A&M fans are like, this is going to change it, right? We're going to finally get over that hump. We're going to be consistent. We're going to be overtly physical. We're going to be organized. And Notre Dame went in there and reinforced the narrative of A&M just can't do it. They just can't win the big one. Because, again, we didn't know really how good Notre Dame was going to be and go on the run that they did all the way to the national title game where they lost, obviously, to Ohio State. But if you're able to win this game for A&M, the momentum that it gives you heading into the conference season as well, going on the road, could be the difference at the end if you win it to getting in the college football playoff. But, Blaine, you believe it was more of the way that Notre Dame won.
Yeah, these two teams are Spider-Man GIFs to me, right? I mean, they're both the same. They both want to turn around, run the ball, and have a very aggressive come-get-you defense. Mm-hmm. And I think when you have two teams with similar styles, right, it adds a little more pressure and a little bit more weight is who's better at the same thing. And I think Texas A&M and Notre Dame have a lot of similarities. I kind of think Marcel Reed is somewhat the difference when it comes to A&M because I don't think Notre Dame's going to have a dual-threat guy at quarterback. But this game, I think Mike Elko needs it. And Texas A&M fans are not known for what? Well, any SEC fan base, really, patience.
Yeah.
They're not going to have patience, especially for non-conference games. Mike, when it comes to pressure, A&M always folds. They always fold when it comes to pressure. I'm not saying that just because y'all have guys in overalls on the sidelines dancing. I'm not saying that. It's because when it comes to the moment, the big moment, when you have to have it, when you're down a stroke on 18 and it's a par 5 and someone has to put it in the fairway, A&M gets in the tee box and they shank it every time. So pressure is building at A&M. Either you're going to be a diamond, all right, or you're going to crumble.
But it could be the game that really gets them going. Like that may kind of start smashing that narrative. And I wonder, if Marcel Reed plays in that game, I wonder what happens. Now, again, Notre Dame won it. I'm not saying that Marcel Reed would have gone in there and A&M would have won. But, if you do win it, you can't do something until you do it. We see it all the time in this sport. It could be huge. It's a huge matchup.
All right, one other thing on that one before we move off of it. Just remember, Notre Dame opens on the road at Miami.
Yeah.
Then they get a bye week in week 2 early before they get to host Texas A&M. That could be pivotal.
Who does A&M start with?
A&M starts with UTSA, and then they host Utah State.
Okay, Bronco Mendenhall.
Technically not a bye week.
Yeah.
But if Notre Dame is going to start a young quarterback in C.J. Carr, that bye week in between 2 marquee matchups early in the season could be pivotal. Number 7, Georgia hosting Alabama. This is week 5, same as it was a year ago, boys, when we were in Tuscaloosa live streaming this thing from Innisfree. Just remember, Alabama was up on Georgia at one point, 28-0 in the second quarter. Georgia fights back in the second half. Alabama still wins the game on that Hail Mary, that streak to Ryan Williams. They win 41-34. But Carson Beck and Jalen Monroe combined for over 900 yards. Neither one of them is going to be starting at quarterback in this game.
Well, this could have been the game of the year last year overall. You bring it up. We were at Innisfree live streaming it in T-Town. And it was rocking. There's so many ways to frame this from a revenge standpoint. Just Georgia and Alabama alone. 2 of the biggest dogs in the SEC, in college football. They view each other, and you can say what you want. I know Alabama fans will say, look at the record, and I get that. But in the eyes, I think there is a respect level there between Alabama and Georgia of we are the 2 titans of this conference. You could use that alone to be the revenge game. But then you have the Kirby Smart Alabama narrative. Not the Kirby Smart Nick Saban narrative anymore, but the Kirby Smart and Alabama narrative where Kirby, you had the one huge win. We all remember that one.
Kirby's 1-5.
1-5 against Alabama. So you have that. And then, David, just the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster of that game. I am trying to remember another game. And please, somebody tell me if you can, that was so different from half to half. But if you're Georgia, at halftime, at this point, you're like, let's just get the hell out of here without losing 60-0 because Jalen Monroe was absolutely dialed in. Everything was working. Carson Beck looked terrible. Then you come in the second half, have one of the best comebacks we've seen, and take the lead. Mm-hmm. And take the lead. Could be one of the greatest stories in Georgia history, right? One of the best games, comeback wins, humongous, right? And then Ryan Williams has a ballet recital down the sidelines to come and win the game, and you end up losing anyway. Mm-hmm. I would have almost rather gotten my ass beat to death than have it happen that way. But think about it like this too. First season after Nick Saban retired, no more East-West divisions. Yep. Georgia gets to come to you. People are picking Georgia. You get up on them 28-0, and you end up winning the game. You end up keeping Georgia from coming back. And because you lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, you don't even get a shot in the SEC championship game. Georgia wins the conference. You wasted.
And because they didn't win the national championship, they feel like it's a down year. Now they get to host you in Athens. I can't wait for this.
Some people will want this higher, and I get it. I get it. But
Kirby beat the ghost of Nick Saban.
We're going to see. We're going to see.
Let's stay with Georgia hosting teams, because remember that schedule last year, they were going on the road to all these different programs. Number 6, Georgia hosting Texas. This is a double revenge, boys. This is a double right here. This isn't a horns up sign, okay? Regular season game, 30-15, Georgia beat Texas in that one, but it was 23-0 at halftime. SEC championship rematch, Georgia won again, 22-19 when Gunnar Stockton came in for Carson Beck.
And if you're Texas, you had very few blemishes last year. But outside of losing to Ohio State in the semifinal, you circled Georgia, and that's what hurt you. That's what hurt you. That's one of the few blemishes. You talk about getting beat like that at home, where you got dominated at home after going on the road and dominating Michigan the way that you did. And then in the SEC championship game, you catch a huge break. Carson Beck goes down. Gunnar Stockton's coming in. Man, hasn't played that much. He's in the biggest moment. You've got Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning as the backup and this really good defense, and you feel like, hey, not only if we win this game do we avenge the loss to Georgia earlier, but look at what it changes for our seed. Now, you did go all the way to the semifinal, and that's great, but imagine if you'd have gotten that bye as well after beating Georgia. So if you're a Texas fan, this is truly revenge because Georgia was one of the few blemishes twice on your schedule last year. I cannot wait. With Gunnar Stockton coming back, who's 1-0 against Texas, playing Arch Manning. You want to talk about crazy? There's no way game day goes anywhere else, right? There's a couple points of the season where you can just pencil in, you know where game day is going to be. Texas, Ohio State, week 1, right? Is there any other matchup that week, Cone?
This is Alabama, Oklahoma week. This is Auburn's got a bye, so Florida, Ole Miss.
Tough win.
So it's game day.
Well, I think all three of us can sit here and agree from a talent standpoint. I think Texas was better than Georgia. Overall roster,
I agree with
talent standpoint.
Especially when Beck went
I think
down.
Texas can go sleep in their bed peacefully almost every week, right? Almost every week, everything's fine. Yeah, Dad, Mom, I'm fine. Okay, I'm grown up. I can go sleep in my own bed until that Georgia week.
Yeah.
Right? There's something about Georgia Texas just can't handle. That week, Texas goes and looks in the bed and says, Mama, there's a monster under my bed.
Yeah.
And it's Kirby Smart in Georgia. And sooner or later, they're going to have to figure out and beat these guys because the way Georgia beat them was from physicality.
Yeah.
Right? They just were a more physical team than you. And that's tough to beat. That bugaboo behind Steve Sarkisian is just Kirby Smart standing right behind him.
I can't wait, man. I'm so excited for football season. You know that old saying, the best offense is a good defense? Well, it's not just true in sports. It applies to life, too. The smartest defense you can have is making sure you've got the right life insurance coverage. And that's exactly what SelectQuote is doing. They help you find the best protection at the best price. Now, that's what I call playing it smart. And for over 4 decades, SelectQuote has helped more than 2 million Americans secure over $700 billion in life insurance by doing what they do best, shopping for you so you save. Their licensed agents work entirely for you. They compare policies from top-rated carriers in just 15 minutes to find the perfect fit for your health and budget, completely free of charge. Whether you need same-day coverage up to $2 million without a medical exam, or you have pre-existing conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, or being an Auburn fan, SelectQuote partners with providers who offer specialized policies designed for your unique situation. With life insurance rates today at historic lows, head over to SelectQuote.com and let their licensed agents find you the right policy for your life and budget. They shop, you save. Get the right life insurance for a great price for you, for less, and save more than 50%. That's right, at SelectQuote.com/booster. Save more than 50%. You heard that right on term life insurance at SelectQuote.com/booster. Head over there today to get started. That's SelectQuote.com/booster. Protect your family with SelectQuote.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to be
week 10?
Yeah, no, week 12 because of the bye
weeks.
But yeah, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Florida, Ole Miss. There's other good games, but man, that's going to be something. Talking about Ole Miss, number 5, Kentucky hosting Ole Miss in week 2 after what happened a year ago. Remember, this was the same week as Alabama, Georgia, because we were watching this out at the tailgates. 20-17, Kentucky beats Ole Miss at Ole Miss. And Kentucky outrushed Ole Miss in that football game.
You know, this, I think, from an Ole Miss perspective, and really just as a football fan in general, was one of the most devastating losses that I can remember to a program. Because remember, Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have been building and building and building. You look at what they had on defense, right? What Pete Golding and that defense was able to do. And Ole Miss has kind of changed their shape a little bit from just an offensive team that tries to outscore you to an overtly physical team that feels like they belong because they've made that change. And you're on a roll. You're setting yourself up. And 10-2 gets you in. 10-2 gets you in. And with that schedule last year, it wasn't brutal for Ole Miss, right? They just couldn't have what happened against Kentucky at home. And they lined up and they dominated you. A bad Kentucky team. Nay, a horrible Kentucky team stole the hopes and dreams from Ole Miss fans. Could have totally revolutionized the program into the playoff, championship relevancy, possibly a berth in the SEC championship. And you let a basketball school come into your house and you didn't show up. And this is my biggest knock on Lane Kiffin. My biggest knock on him. It's the consistency week in and week out. What is the difference between Lane Kiffin and the best of the best right now? It's showing up week in and week out, ready to whip somebody's ass, playing hard through the whistle, and the opponent doesn't matter. But now you get to go on the road. you get another shot at them. But we don't know how good this Ole Miss team's going to be. I don't know if they're going to be able to recreate what they were last year in the front 7 on D. I love me some Santarum Perkins, but you're still missing some pieces. This was brutal, and if you're an Ole Miss fan, I want this to be bad. If you're Lane Kiffin, there is no taking the foot off the brake. If we can score 100, I'm going to score 100. I've got to avenge what happened to Jackson Dart and the chosen one, the prodigal son, Jackson Dart, and you stole his dreams. And they looked bad, Cone. You remember how bad Ole Miss looked in that game?
I know.
Kentucky couldn't throw it.
They lost to a 5-5.
They couldn't throw it.
It's not. Well, this has been the knock on Lane Kiffin. How many times have I heard Lane Kiffin's going to be the next great SEC coach? I've
From
heard,
who?
A bunch of people.
Not from
any.
not from
our
me.
own. All during SEC media days, but the consistency's not there. You can't lose these games and compete for titles, right? And that's what Lane Kiffin does year in, year out. Not only he lost to Kentucky, he lost to 5-5 Florida. LSU was terrible last year.
Well,
he lost to him in 29-26. Go to 2022. You're ranked, 15th in the nation? You lose to Arkansas, who can barely walk? Like, Lane, this has been the knock on Lane Kiffin. He loves to post on X, be the troll and stuff like that. Sooner or later, you're going to have to win the games against terrible teams, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to win.
We got on a personal note, it was stolen from us how much fun Lane Kiffin on social media would have been leading up into the playoff.
Oh.
I feel like it got stolen from us by Kentucky.
Well,
so this
kind of behavior
that
is
one
why.
actually,
This
to be
kind of
honest with
behavior
you-
is why we can't get
Exactly.
This could have been won. That's how bad. That's how bad it was. You know, Bama losing on the road at Oklahoma, it hurts, but I mean, yeah. But this is Kentucky at home, and nobody's dribbling a basketball. Not one.
All right, boys, top 4. Auburn hosting Alabama in Jordan-Hare in the Iron Bowl. It's been 5 in a row, guys. I mean, sell me on this even being in the revenge games. I mean, can Auburn beat them? Can we win?
We can, David. We can. It's this 5 in a row, it shouldn't be like this. Not in this rivalry. It's embarrassing. This is embarrassment is what it is. You know, Gus Malzahn's the last one to beat him. Shout out Gus Buzz. Brian Harsin. Don't even get me started on that. Then 4th and 31, which I'll never forgive you for that. Like, you can do whatever. You can win 8 national championships in a row. I'll never forgive you for that. This one is at Auburn.
Look, if you win 8 national championships in a row, listen, I'm not forgiving you. That doesn't mean I'm not excited. Okay.
But somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm still not forgiving you. All right? The vodka's in this one, sweetie. Mm-hmm. When you look at just the setup this year, you've lost 5 in a row. One of the biggest rivalry games there is. It's in Auburn. Like, Auburn has the best roster that they've had in the last half decade. Now, we'll see how good it is, and that's really not saying much when you see how bad Auburn has been. But if there was ever a time when you get them at home, it's this year with this team. And Auburn fans want it bad. I think Auburn fans have been incredibly patient, over patient with waiting for this to get done. And it should have gotten done a while ago. And it hasn't happened. So you talk about a situation where if Auburn turns out to be good, which we'll see, nobody's saying that, and this one matters, and you're able to beat them when it matters, and maybe this is what gets you in the playoff and keeps them out, it's a dish that's best served cold, Coney.
Yeah.
Best served cold.
Well, it's just one of those things, it's like, finally, Nick Saban's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone, right? The dictator's gone. The leader is gone. The man who can't lose is gone. Now's our time. Now's our chance to be the difference. We're the older brother now.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to get their ass now. They don't got Nick. And you can't beat Kalen DeBoer.
No.
And the way you lose, you're so close. You're so close, but you just can't. You beat yourself. Auburn's the best team at beating themselves.
It's incredible.
In the country.
You know what it reminds me of? You know on the Da Vinci Code movie? You seen Da Vinci Code?
Yes.
Where
And read the
the
book.
guy who whips himself in the back?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the villain. That's what Auburn is. Like, we just go home at night, put on some cloth, or then take it off and just hit ourselves with a cat of nine tails in the back. And then put it back on, and we're like, I still love Auburn.
I think this game needs to mean something, though. Like, I think Auburn needs to be someone in the hunt for something. Right? Because if Auburn walks in with if Auburn walks in with 5 wins, just from a mentality standpoint, I know
this rivalry's big enough that it's still going to.
We're not going to walk in with hope. We're going to be.
Who cares about hope? Walk in with hate. You don't need
I'll
hope.
take
You
hate.
need
You can have
hate.
hope and hate.
Yeah.
You don't
at the
need
same
hope.
Four-letter
You need
H word that
hate.
means
You can have
more than
hope and
hope
hate.
is hate.
Yeah.
Hate.
Which brings me to the next game, number 3 here, because when you and I first met, Auburn are kind of coming off of wins against Alabama before this streak starts. I'll tell you who was on a streak, the Buckeyes
Tell 'em,
against
son.
Michigan. Now we sit here in 2025, 4 in a row for Michigan. Jack Sawyer on social media this week.
Hey, good for you, Dave.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you,
Yeah,
Dave.
good for me.
Good for you.
Thank you. I had nothing to do with it. I'm gonna sit here and take the credit. Actually, this streak started when we got involved in sports media, so I don't know, doesn't bode well for the Iron Bowl, but I feel pretty good.
Yeah, right when Jake and Reed started dating.
Here we go.
Couldn't beat
Now
Alabama.
that's a
Here
low
we
blow.
go.
That's on
They
a-
have a child together.
Happy birthday, Reed.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's another reason the Auburn-Alabama one's on there. I need Viola to see some wins.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, inverse of what we're talking about with the Iron Bowl, Michigan hosting the Buckeyes 13-10 a year ago. They threw for 60 yards, still held the eventual national champs to what they did, found a way to win the game. 4 in a row, Michigan gets them at home.
So, David, if you're an Ohio State fan, you win the national championship, which is the ultimate goal, right? That's the ultimate goal. So you're feeling great coming off of it. But do you still think when Ohio State fans lay their head down at night, kind of like Blaine was saying earlier, they're all tucked in, right? Had a good meal, you're about to go to sleep. Do you think they just have a flash of that Michigan?
Of course.
That-
And it's
that
not just the
maze.
fans. The players, too. Look what happened week before last. You got Shane Gillis up at the ESPYs congratulating the Buckeyes on winning the national championship. What's his next line after that? But you still lost to Michigan. You could see Will Howard with the
And it's a compliment to the
It
rivalry,
is.
to the game. And again, we give Ohio State as much credit as possible because at the end of the day, when it comes to analysis, we're going to tell you what we really think, not what we want to happen. But would Ohio State fans trade not winning the Natty this year, as long as Michigan doesn't win it, for beating Michigan and ending that slide? I wonder, Ohio State fans, tell me, would you make that trade right now? If I guaranteed you would beat Michigan and neither you or Michigan would win the national championship, would you take that right now? That's what I'm interested in.
I'll be interested in that little poll right there. This gets us into our top 2. And number 2 here, boys, might surprise a lot of people. Alabama hosting Vanderbilt.
Never thought I'd see the day, Cone.
40
That's number 2.
40-35 a year ago, right here in our backyard. Vanderbilt just kicked Alabama's butts. Diego Pavia over 300 total yards a year ago.
So, as we said off the top, we made this list on ego, not the consequences of playing for a championship. I feel like this is the most embarrassed I have seen my Alabama fan friends after a game, just because of the way that Alabama views themselves and the way that they view Vandy. This would be unheard of a couple years ago. And when this happened, it was still, and kudos to Clark Lee and Barton Simmons and Vanderbilt and what they've been able to build there. But there's no reason why Vanderbilt should ever beat Alabama in football. And this is one that if you're an Alabama fan, the minute this game ended, you could not wait to play them again. And I think Alabama is going to drown Vanderbilt in a small puddle of water. And it may be the first instance since Ellen DeGeneres of an American citizen self-deporting themselves after a game, after what Diego Pavia has been saying and what happened last year. The things that front seven are going to do to Diego Pavia are illegal in 40 of the states in the United States.
I don't know if he'll make it out of this one, man.
I'm telling you, this bad blood.
An Alabama team that has ran college football for the last 15 years. You lose to a team that's usually the doormat for the SEC.
The whipping boy.
And Vanderbilt. Like the nerd at the high school knocked out the big bully in front of everybody.
Yeah.
In the auditorium.
And the cheerleaders.
In front of everybody. Hell, there were some parents there.
Yeah.
For a meeting. Knocked them out in front of everybody. So I'd be surprised if Bama doesn't win this game by 50.
And it's at Bama.
Yeah.
You think, and there's going to be no leaving in the fourth quarter for this one. It is going to be
if Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, these
there's
type
no
of
way,
games
dude,
shake the foundations of your program.
Well, it ruins everything else. It ruins everything else. Absolutely ruins everything else. I wonder if Alabama fans would rather have lost to Georgia and beat Vanderbilt. I really actually wonder that. That's how bad it is. I think that was a great analogy that you made about getting knocked out in front of everybody in the high school by the short nerd with the Pokemon lunchbox. Still haven't caught them all.
Lock that one away. All right, boys, the number one revenge game in college football for 2025. How cool is this? Ohio State hosting Texas in Columbus week 1. And remember, this is what put Texas out last year in the Cotton Bowl. That was 28-14. Remember, Jack Sawyer had the strip sack, fumble, return touchdown on his former roommate, Quinn Ewers. Here's one interesting stat, though. Jeremiah Smith's stat line a year ago in the Cotton Bowl. 1 reception for 3 yards. The Buckeyes beat them 28-14 with 1 reception and 3 yards. Now Texas and Arch Manning are going to Columbus.
Texas and Ohio State playing back-to-back is so awesome. It's just awesome for everybody in college football. And if you're a Texas fan, you go through the first full year of the SEC, you make the conference championship game, you lose that one. You head into the playoff, you escape against Arizona State. Escape.
At the over. Whew.
Like, oh, I remember that. Ooh. Get to the semifinal, Cotton Bowl, and lose in the fashion they lost when you're driving to go tie the game or possibly go for 2 and take the lead when you shut Jeremiah Smith down to go to the national championship game. Ohio State stole their girl, man. Stole their girl. Love of their life. Thought you'd be together forever. She's funny, good looking, parents like you. It's all going good. You trust her. And all of a sudden, some dude on a motorcycle pulls up. They plays a guitar.
Ugh.
Oh.
She's gone.
That's the worst.
She's gone. He don't have no money. He's got a guitar and a motorcycle.
Well, I'm interested to see the way people are going to view Arch Manning if Texas loses this game. You want to talk about pressure dialing?
You want to talk about market value for NIL?
Well, how do they lose? I mean, does he ball and they lose?
Yeah, if he plays okay, but
what happens if?
But Julian Sain goes out there and just tears it up. And if you're a Texas fan, look, Arch Manning, he's the next one up.
The chosen one.
The Mr. Walk-on Water. Should have played him last year instead of Quinn Ewers. That's what everybody telling me. He was the number 1 pick. Right now, slated Heisman winner, him and Jeremiah Smith, and he comes out and looks mediocre, and Julian Sain's going Super Saiyan on the other side of the ball. I'm just telling you, Arch Manning, that perception.
Yeah.
I know it's one game. I know the kids have never played a full game before. Trust me. I get that. Ohio State's going to be talented. But from a Texas fan base, like that, it's going to start turning up a little bit.
It's a big
start turning up a little
And there's
bit.
so much at stake. There was so much at stake last year. Now, this year, whoever loses this game, you're still in it. I mean, if there ever was a quality loss, this is probably it. But when you look at what happened last year and that taste that Texas, the last taste the fans had in their mouth, was losing this game.
Texas was so close.
So close.
SEC championship game. Oh, it's right there. Semifinals. Oh my, I can touch it.
It's right.
I can touch it. And just snatched it from right?
I can't wait, dude.
It'll be here before we know it, boys.
This is great. All right, so let us know. How do you like our ranking? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Is there a game we're missing? But before we go, Cone, I think we got an honorable mention as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Ohio State versus Penn State, 20-13 a year ago.
Just because Penn State, man, you made the playoff last year. Great, fun. Let's go on an adventure. Let's be friends. Hold hands and stare each other in the eyes. Can't beat them. There's been the difference. You can't beat them. So as far as revenge.
And that was.
And this is supposed to be Penn
I'm
State's
surprised
year.
the Oregon-Ohio State game.
David, this is supposed to be Penn State's year. Ohio State, new quarterback. Great roster, new quarterback. Yeah. Michigan, new quarterback. There's people, I see people just gassing up Penn State. And James Franklin's over here at Big Ten Media Days running his mouth about having to go to Vegas and that and the other. He feels like he's sitting in the king chair, right? It's just if you're Penn State, this is when you get over this one.
But
it would soothe a lot of sores in the
to
past.
Columbus, though.
You know what? At the end of the day, y'all couldn't beat them at home.
Yeah.
God, how many isn't every time they play Ohio State a whiteout?
Something like that.
At home? So we'll see. But again, in the comments, let us know. Appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Got a great show for you tomorrow as well. Make sure you're locked in. And like the chances of me just not being giddy over fall camp starting, which means we're here. We're going. Caught it.
That's it.
Gone. That's a catch. It hit the light. Y'all saw it. A bobble and a catch. I got both feet in.